Welcome. My name is Natasha Sherman, and I am your host. And my guest today is Dave Buck, Master Certified Coach, MBA, and CEO of CoachVille. So CoachVille is a global community with over 10,000 coaches, including over 4,000 alumni of their coach certification program. Coach Dave is a founding member of the Transformational Leadership Council with Jack Canfield and other luminaries of the personal growth field. Recently, Dave and I had a conversation about humanity being in trouble.
Yes.
So welcome, Dave.
Thank you, Natasha.
On that note, let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
How are we in trouble?
Well, the trouble is pretty obvious. I always say it's not complicated. If you look around, we have war. We have humans. Depression is going up, anxiety is going up, addiction is going up, and all other sorts of human...
And our environment is collapsing.
Environment is collapsing, the earth is burning, and if we continue on the path we are on, human beings are probably not going to last that long on this planet. We're in a point of where we have to make a change. And this is, I'm not the only one saying this for sure, right? I just happen to have a very unique idea about the solution.
Okay.
So that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm excited to talk about. So the big thing is I have been coaching for 25 years as a professional life coach. And I have come to the conclusion that human beings are awesome. That we're born awesome, that humans have these amazing natural born superpowers to do really good things in life and to contribute and participate in communities and in society.
So you mean we're not just out of control little beasts that need to be contained?
Correct. This is exactly right, Natasha. The prevailing theory is that we are evil beasts that need to be controlled, okay? So this prevailing theory of humanity has created a culture that we all live in that is based on authoritarian, hierarchical control. This is how all of human life is organized today, okay? So it basically goes like this. You have this little human is born, ready to live life, excited, and then they slam into the culture, which has been created to get human beings under control, okay? And so you have a little human, they're born into this family, and they think they're free, because when you're a little human, you think you're free, right? You do. You think you're free. You think, I'm free, I'm here, I'm alive, this is awesome. And then you find out, no, you must obey your father. Or your mother, and your mother must obey your father. And it's this whole obey thing, okay? And this is the big thing. As human beings, we are born to play. That's our natural way. But then we're forced to obey. So this is the thing, you want to get this powerful pathway from obey to play. And this is what we're going to talk about, okay?
Right.
Okay, so you've got this little human, they're in the family. Then we ship them off to compulsory education. And there's all the kids around. This is exciting. No, you cannot play with the other children. You sit down, you shut up, and you do your worksheets. You obey the teacher, obey the principal. Right? This is what we do to the little children. But as a little side note, we also tell them, but remember, this is the greatest country in the world, and we are better than them. Then, many humans are also put into religious communities. Our families bring us into religion, and there we find out you must obey the book, and you must obey the preacher, and you must obey Almighty God. And if you don't obey, you are shameful or damned.
So I'm going to interrupt you here.
Yeah.
So I totally get it.
Yeah.
And but then parents out there listening
Yes.
are going to think, well, yeah, what do we do to teach them to live in a civilized world where we have to get along with everybody?
Yes, yes.
And yes, they have to, quote, obey. So what's the alternative?
Yeah, okay, good question. One last little piece of the story, okay? We also have in the religious communities, we are the good ones and they are evil. Then we have to get a job. We're compelled to work. Okay, so we get a job. Now we find out we have to obey the boss, and the boss's boss, and the boss's boss's boss. And we also find out not only do we have to obey the boss, but we are the greatest company, and we are going to conquer the marketplace, and we are better than them. So now, most human beings, after this indoctrination, are very confused, anxious, depressed, wondering, what's wrong with me? This doesn't seem right. But yet, everyone seems to be doing it. Something must be wrong. And the whole point of the story is to get the human beings to obey.
And
now,
usually I think it goes to something is wrong with me.
Yes.
Because we learn out of all of that, I'm just tracking you.
Yes.
Is we learn that we are untrustworthy.
Correct.
And then we compare to everyone else. So everything is a comparison.
That's right.
Graded.
Because we're taught, that's exactly, we're graded, we're ranked amongst our peers, which is horrifying and dehumanizing. No little child should be graded or ranked. It's a horrifying thing for a little human because we're born egalitarian and free. We want to live a free life, and we also are egalitarian, which means we respect the freedom of others. That's the natural human way. So, yes, let's get to your answer to your question. So, what do we do with the children? I'll talk about the children in a moment, okay, if you don't mind. What I have dedicated my life to for the last 25 years is the adults, okay? So, what I have been doing as a life coach is setting people free, unleashing their natural human nature, their superpowers that are within us, which are awesome, so that they can live freely and participate and contribute and express themselves, own their value, and respect the value of all the others. And
so what do you mean by superpowers?
Superpowers is an awesome question. I've put together a little model that I call the 5 Bs. Okay? So the 5 Bs of human nature.
These are not flying bees.
No, these are BEs. Okay, just one B and one E. Yeah, but Bs are also awesome, as a side note.
Yes.
So the 5 Bs are the drive to be free, the love to befriend, the urge to become, the ability to believe, and the need to belong. These are the 5 Bs of the human nature superpowers. And when you get all 5 of these aligned and moving in the direction of your dreams, awesome things happen. And that's what life coaching is about. So I've been freeing people like this for 25 years. And what happens is, what I found is when a person experiences life coaching, they then tend to create what I call an egalitarian coaching culture in their families. They become coach approach parents. They become coach approach in their communities, in their companies. And so what I've seen happen over 25 years and with the thousands of people that I've taught how to be a life coach is that it is possible to re-humanize and create these egalitarian, playful cultures where people are respected and feel awesome and do great things in the world. Humans are not little beasts trying to run around and screw everything up. Our natural human way, if you're in an environment that's loving and respectful, you become loving and respectful. Because we're always adapting to the culture. So if we can just switch the culture, up-level the culture, I should say, then we can have a dramatic impact on the whole human family around the earth in a very short period of time.
So who benefits from the way it is now?
This is the multi-billion-dollar question. I've given a lot of thought to this, and I don't want to travel in crazy conspiracies, but let's just say the authoritarian hierarchical control culture, as it's presently constructed, benefits the billionaires. The billionaires who profit from human beings feeling less than, as you described perfectly, a little confused, less than, doubting themselves. When you're in doubt and you're obedient, then often you're willing to work for less than you're worth. And then also, you're often easily convinced to buy things that cost more than they're worth. This is capitalism, and it's called profit. Okay? So ultimately, the billionaires profit from the human family in a swirl of confusion, obedience. Wait, I have to obey, but we're better than them, and we're good, and they're evil. And this whole discord benefits the billionaires. That's the bottom line.
So considering that there aren't that many billionaires.
Correct.
And yet our whole lives are based on being acclimated to the industrial hierarchical culture.
Yes.
How do you break through to impact the power that they have?
Yeah, well, this question I haven't fully figured out, all right? But it's a very good one. This is what I believe. I believe in an idea called the ripple effect. And if enough humans are uplifted and see, wait, I see what's going on. I don't want to be under control. I want to live freely and love life and love other people and respect humanity and the earth. That's how I want to live. I think a large percentage of humans would love to live that life if they felt it was possible.
Yeah, I think right now most people don't even see it as a possibility. It's
Correct.
not even on their radar screen. It's just this is the way things are.
This is just the way things are. Exactly. And that goes back to my life as a life coach, which is about co-creating and practicing, uplifting each person, one person at a time, so that then they feel, wait, I can live a better life for myself. I've done it hundreds of times. I've coached over 1,000 people. I have not been successful all 1,000 times in freeing everyone, but I've freed many people, and many coaches that I've taught these techniques have freed many, many people. So I know it can work. There are coaching culture initiatives in some companies and communities. So little pockets, it's happening. We have enough momentum at this point that I think we can make a big shift. But it takes a ripple effect. So basically what we need, Natasha, is somewhere in the ballpark of 2 or 3 million life coaches. That's all we need. And this is how we're going to do it. I actually believe that all coaching has threads of life coaching. What do I mean by that? Think of how many soccer coaches there are in the world. Basketball coaches.
You were a soccer coach,
I
right?
was a soccer coach, yes, before I became a life coach. Basketball coaches, soccer coaches, football coaches, baseball coaches, voice coaches, dance coaches, acting coaches. There's millions of coaches around the world. All we have to do is teach all of them a little bit of life coaching skills, which are already pretty natural to them, and we can have life coaching happening everywhere. Which brings me to my book.
Yes, tell me about your book.
My little book is called Life Coaching is Everywhere. And it's basically this idea of, okay, there's so many millions of people around the world that are coaching in some capacity, uplifting others, teaching skills, teaching perspectives, mindsets, whether it's in athletics or arts. And then we have thousands of life coaches and business coaches and leadership coaches. If we all start teaming together, we can uplift enough people where we build the momentum to say, okay, this is not working the way this is going. We need a new way of organizing. But the thing I think that's important about this is that egalitarian coaching and egalitarian freedom It's in us.
Already.
It's already in us.
How do you see that?
I've seen it in so many people I've coached, and in all the things I've studied and read about pre-industrial humans, they're very free, very light, loving. They love the earth. They love each other. They embrace challenges. They're in tune with nature. Pre-agrarian, pre-industrial humans lived a life of freedom. Now, it had challenges for sure. I'm not saying it wasn't without challenges, but the natural state of humans is to be free. We're born free, then we're trained to obey.
I believe that, and at the same time, one of the questions that comes up, because it falls into the realm of comparing, but are we naturally competitive? Because, survival, if you throw back to, maybe times where survival was more extreme or whatever.
Yes.
In my mind, it probably took some kind of collaboration to survive.
Yes.
But again, is survival a part of this mechanism that says, well, we have to have for us, and they're the ones who are after the same
resources.
Yeah.
This is an ancient question, and I don't pretend to know the answer, right? This I know, okay. I don't pretend to know. Let me say this. But what I do think is that if most people, I feel like, know that we're better together than we are alone. We're better together. If we're playing together, if we're co-creating, if we're respectful, better outcomes happen. And this is part of our human nature. The love to befriend is essential to us. We love companionship. We also love to do our own thing. And part of being a wise human is balancing between, I want to do my own thing, but I also love doing things with you. So let's find a way to do things together somehow. And this, I think, is our natural human way. And except in the case, like you said, I think when resources are extremely scarce and people are in a survival mode, then things can get a little wonky. I would say that is true. Yeah. But at the same time, this whole thing, it's been talked about. It's been thoroughly debunked over and over again, but people still refer to it like it's true. This Maslow hierarchy, this idea that, first you have to get your basic needs met, then you can do these things, and then you can do these things, and ultimately you'll be a peak experience human. Mm-hmm. This is nonsense. All of these things are great for human life, but it's not a hierarchy. I have seen humans who have nothing except this little bit of food, share it with another person. I have seen this happen so many times. So it's not true that humans are only capable of caring for others when their needs are fully met. That is absolutely not true. It's not hierarchical. It's circular. It's connected. So I think this is something, Bucky Fuller used to talk about. You know of Bucky. And he used to talk about in the last century, we have all the resources on the earth for all the humans to be cared for. This is not really that complicated. We have the resources. What we don't have is the culture that's willing to share the resources, right? So the
billionaires need coaching.
Of course. But this is a clunky thing. I just don't think they're going to do it.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're going to do it. I forget what it was. I was the other day on the Esalen Institute website.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of them?
Sure, they still exist?
Yeah, they still exist. Big Sur, California. Mm-hmm. And we've been transforming lives for 50 years. And I was like, fudge you. Your fancy pants billionaires go there to say Om, and then they call the senator. Make sure you don't pass that minimum wage bill because that's going to affect my profits. I'm like, no, you have not been transforming lives. You can sit there and say Om, but unless you're willing to cut the bull crap with the wealth disparity, then no, it's not going to work. But all of us can rise up and say, no more, we're not playing this game anymore.
Yeah. And I think what's really significant is this whole idea of waking people up to that possibility.
Yes.
Because mostly we are resigned to the way
Yes.
it is.
Yes.
We feel powerless because we've been dehumanized.
Correct.
And that's the whole point.
That's the whole
to
point.
make us feel powerless.
Correct.
And as you say,
I love you, Natasha.
I love you too.
You're on the same team as me.
Yes.
This is awesome.
Yes. So it's like, and when you talk about we do it for each other,
Yes.
Any 12-step program or any group where you find somebody who is in alignment and understands
Yes.
and has empathy for you,
Yes.
the causes healing.
Yes. It's belonging.
So we can, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's interesting about coaching, the coaching kind of mindset.
Yes.
So we look at it, you said, to have a coaching mindset in your families and companies. And I remember something really simple. I was coaching a client, and this was years ago. And, in our families, we ask for things, we demand things, or we don't, or we,
Yeah, that's right.
And I said, okay, I'm going to teach you how to make a request.
Yes.
Which seems real simple, but
Life
not.
Coaching 101.
Yes. So I said, here's how you make a request. This is what it sounds like.
Yes.
You can say, I have a request.
Yes.
So it was interesting because she said, at first her family looked at her like she had two heads. And then within a short period of time, they're all going, I have a request.
Yes. This is the point, Natasha.
Yeah.
This is the point. First of all, you're awesome. You've been in the coaching space for a very long time, as have I. We free each other. We don't get free alone. This is the first thing. That's what life coaching is about. You don't rise up as this hero. We co-create freedom together. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing is, the need to belong is the most powerful of the 5 human superpowers. And so, if you're a human and you're around another human who's doing something different, but it seems interesting, your need to belong kicks in and you think, oh, I'm going to try that. And this is how things spread so quickly among humans, because the need to belong is like that. We like, oh, I like that. So you asked another interesting question too about competition and scarcity. This is a very interesting question for sure. And I'm not going to pretend to have the whole solution to this situation. I think competition is a very interesting human experience. In a healthy space, competition is very good. It's very powerful. We all like, oh, I see what they're doing. I'm going to try and do something like that. I'm going to learn from them, maybe try to do it in a little different way. So this kind of healthy competition, the idea from the Greek language of to compete is to seek the best in oneself in the company of others likewise engaged. So if you are wanting to do something and you're around other people who are doing that thing and you're competing by like, oh, I want to be great and they're great, let me try something, and they're doing something, that's how we rise up together, right? However, if you get into this zero-sum game, scarcity of resources type of competition, which is not about uplifting each other, but we need to survive and we need to crush them, then that's unhealthy competition, and that leads to all sorts of bad outcomes, which goes back to this interesting dynamic of our culture, which is we're telling the humans they have to obey, and then we're telling them, but we are good and they are the evil ones. And this is the problem, because that's actually very confusing to a little human, because little humans are fiercely egalitarian, which means you trust yourself and you believe other people can trust themselves. That's what egalitarian means. Like, I respect myself and I respect your right to choose for yourself. That's the natural human way. The crush the competition thing is not a natural human thing. But under certain circumstances, if you dehumanize a person enough, they can flip and become hyper-controlling, scarce resource hoarding. That can happen. But if humans are in a space where they're loved and appreciated and allowed to express themselves, they don't become that.
Yeah. I just noticed this has gone by so quickly. We have like 2.5 minutes left.
Whoa! Time flies when you're having a juicy conversation.
Right. So anything in the last 2.5 minutes, what would you suggest, advice, invitations?
Yeah, the big thing is that I do think that life coaching is an amazing skill set, that if we can spread it to millions of people, we can turn the tide on the human situation. And, visit us at CoachVille. We have amazing coach education programs. We have all kinds of income-based scholarships. We're all about everyone should have access to great coach education, not only the wealthy. So we make it accessible for a lot of people based on a variety of situations. So I would say that. And also just remember, if you know athletic coaches, arts coaches, they have life coaching in there. So invite them.
The good ones do.
Yeah, the good ones. Yeah. Like here in Princeton, for example.
A lot of them, unfortunately, are part of the
Yes.
industrial hierarchical
Correct.
culture.
Yes.
And it's squash the enemy.
Yes.
And then I saw when my kids were soccer coached. I mean, some of those coaches were vile.
Yes.
Excuse me.
No, you're right.
Yes.
You're right. And some are awesome.
Yes.
And a little shout out, we're here in Princeton. Coach Jimmy Barlow of the men's Princeton soccer team is definitely a life coaching soccer coach, as a great example, right here in town.
Yeah. So Dave, thank you. It's
My
been
pleasure.
a great conversation.
Yeah, appreciate
I invite
it.
people to check out your website and the book.
Yeah,
and
love it.
And then we'll revisit this.
Yes, I'll come back anytime.
Awesome.
Thanks, Natasha.
Thank you. My name is Natasha Sherman. Thank you for joining us.